Hi everybody, it's Brian Henry here and welcome to your pre-record online lecture, title being How to Be an Effective Musical Director. So, the aims and objectives of this lecture is to gain an understanding of the role of the musical director in contemporary music. 2, understand the key skills required to be an effective musical director. And 3, the do's and the don'ts of musical director or MD work. So to kick things off, I figured we'd start with a live performance. This is myself playing keyboards and MD, working with the band Soul to Soul on the Jules Holland Hootenanny show. Now, just to give you a little bit of background on this and some context, the artist, the main guy in Soul to Soul is a guy called Jazzy B. And because it was quite a big deal, it's the Hootenanny show. Lots of big artists were playing on that bill. It was us, it was Ed Sheeran, I think Tom Jones was on that day, plus the Jules Holland big band. So it had to be slick and it had to be really well arranged. So my brief was to come up with an arrangement of their hit record, which is called Back to Life, which was a #1 here and a #1 in America. It got them 3 Grammy Awards, so this is a very important record to him, but he wanted an arrangement of the song that the fans would like, but at the same time it would have a twist on it with some live energy and a touch of live arrangements, but not too steering too far away from the Soul to Soul sound. So let's start there, check out the performance, enjoy it, and then I'll see you on the other side. Okay, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that. I had a blast performing on that show, working with a great band and being involved in a really historic show. As you can see, if you checked out that performance, if you knew the original record, we had license to kind of do some really interesting stuff harmonically, movement wise, with the endings, a few little breakdowns, a few sections where we could get the guitar player to kind of open up. Actually, there isn't guitar on the original recording. The boss man who pays the bills, he was happy. It went down really well. The fans were really happy. We came across and basically, it set us up for the European tour that we had directly the very following year, which was wonderful, which good shows create further gigs and further employment for us as musicians. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take you through the role of the musical director. We hear this word bandied around a lot, MD, musical director, and what is it? And let's really cut down to the chase of what it actually needs. So, in fact, where I'll start is to be a musical director. You are the person that basically takes the vision of the artist and the artist management and possibly the artist record company and creates that vision in a live context, live in the studio, live on live shows, I should say. A lot of the time they will have recorded a record or recorded a series of songs that are on an album, and then they're going to go on the road and play these songs live. Sometimes they don't translate just playing them verbatim as the record. So as an MD, we have to work alongside the artist and create the show. That being new intros, segues, determining the length of the songs, adding solos, taking away solos, and then on top of that, who's in the band, what type of band, all of those type of things. So there are a few things that I'm going to actually go in. That was just a little overview. But what does it take to be a musical director? Here are some key pointers that if you're thinking about getting into these worlds, it is a given. I've been an MD now for, I'd say 15 years plus, and these skills are things that I have to constantly develop and stay on top of. So let's make a start with this. So to be a effective musical director, you must be a natural leader. You know, a person that can command the room, that your musicians, the artists, the record label, everyone you get natural respect from. You know, you've just got to have that confidence to be able to lead a situation. You know, a problem solver. I would say that one there is arguably the most important role of the musical director. You've got to be able to solve problems, and that's across the board. When you're playing live, anything can happen. You know, you've got to be able to figure out how you can take 2 hours of music and condense it into 45 minutes, but having the essence of a full show. You've just got to be able to solve problems. The management will tell you one thing, the artist will tell you other things, and you've just got to figure all of that stuff out, in your own way, Ideas person. I would say that is number two. You cannot be the person in the room that an artist is going to look at you, the rest of your band are going to be looking at you, and you have to come up with concepts. You've got to be prepared to have an arrangement in place for a show or a song, and even if it doesn't work, have another idea. Have a B plan, have a C plan, have a D plan. Even though it's the artist's name on the billboard, to be perfectly honest, in the live domain, the buck stops with the MD. So you have to have an idea. Your ideas have to flow constantly out of you. What else? A deep insight into all elements of the bandstand. Now, keyboards is my instrument. I play keys, I play a bit of drums, I play a little bit of bass, However, that being said, I must, as an MD, I'm not saying you have to be able to play all the instruments, but you must understand the elements of, if you're, for instance, you've got a standard setup, you must understand the elements of drum kits. You must understand the elements of guitars. You must understand the elements of bass. You must, in Soul to Soul, we have strings, live strings. I have to understand how they work, how they operate, the timbres, the sound, the tone, so I can direct, Backing vocals, I have to understand arrangements. I need to know every single lyric on every single song so I can articulate and direct the songs in that place. So your orchestration skills and your musicality has to be wide. It helps you to direct and create an effective show. A very good understanding of arrangements and harmony. You've got to love harmony, and you've got to love musical arrangements to be a good MD. You've got to be able to listen to a record and almost visualize 4 or 5 different ways that it can be played. You are the equivalent of what the music producer is to the artist when they're recording in the studio. You are that person that is working the arrangements, opening them up, taking them to the next level, listening to an arrangement, sort of deciding, actually, dynamically, we need to move it here. So you have to understand. A good solid knowledge of theory really helps, and being able to articulate and talk to everybody on the bandstand, that will really help, A good negotiator, both on and off stage, Part of being an MD, like I've spoken at the moment all about the musicality and all of the things that happen when you're in the rehearsal room and on stage. But as a musical director now in the modern world, you are the person that is going to be dealing with, I'd say 9 times out of 10, the finances for your band. How much they're getting paid, how they get paid, what the rate is, what the rehearsal rate is, what the gig fee is, how much you're getting for per diems, which is like money for food, etc., etc. It stops with you. Record companies and artists generally don't want to have 5 phone calls from the bass player, the drummer, the guitarist, the keys player, and the 3 backing singers. They just want to make 1 phone call to the musical director and say, listen, this is our budget. And for you as the MD, you have to be able to sit down and confidently know your worth and know the band's worth and negotiate. Remember, it's called the music business. So that is a key skill. An understanding of music production, I would say it's optional, but I think the way that things are going now, I would rather that you had it than you didn't have it. You know, in my setup when I'm on stage, I've constantly got all my keyboards, all the standard stuff. But then on some of the bigger shows that I do, I've literally got a mini recording studio right next to me where I'm running Logic, Pro Tools, because sometimes a singer or an artist that I'm working with, they'll want to send stems, there'll be drum samples, there'll be loops that I have to be able to put in on the fly, arrangements that I have to understand. We may have live backing vocalists, but at the same time there's going to be vocals on track, so I have to understand the concept, how to pull apart a track, how to be able to listen to a track, you know, how to put effects on off. So I would say if this is where you're looking to go, a really good understanding of music production would help.